Cool. So welcome to our bit of a talk for ideas part 2, 2020. My name is Brendan Hutcheson. I'm the CEO for Aware Group, and this is David, CEO for Rocos. We've come here today to talk to you about robots and emerging technologies. So we're going to spend a couple minutes just getting to know who we are and why we should be up here. So to start with, Aware Group has been operating for about 4 years. So we span 3 countries, but service 14 other countries, specifically around emerging technology and cognitive services. We partners with Microsoft in both at a regional level and at a corporate level, as well as partners in New Zealand with Vodafone, Boston Dynamics, and Capgemini over in Singapore.
So David Ings, the CEO of Rocos. We're a 3-year-old company based in Auckland. We currently operate in 5 geographies, partners with a number of robotics companies that we'll be talking about later on. And also some of our technology was built alongside Microsoft in their head office in the US, and also partnered with Spark in New Zealand.
Cool. So the first topic that I'm here to talk to you today about is essentially the principle of where robotics is going from a mobile command center or an emergency operating center. So matching the topics from part 1, we're going to go through the idea of something we've been working on for a while. This is MARS. It's called Multi-Agency Advanced Robotic Service. The past 4 months, Aware Group has been investigating the use of robotics, how it's going to operate within New Zealand across multiple government agencies. So we had quite a bit of fun. We investigated, we interviewed, we even let quite a few agencies have a go on the robots. And we identified a few critical trends. The first, New Zealand agencies have no money, which is not good for us. Second, robots are still considered research, risky, or unreliable, which is no longer the case. 3, some agencies are better at operating the robots than others. Through this investigation, we worked with 9 large government agencies, including Defence. This led to the formation and design of MARS, which is the Multi-Agency Advanced Robotic Service. The idea is simple. Retrofit a container filled with advanced robots and payloads. Make it accessible around the country within large urban centres. Position them close to air bases. Make sure they fit on a C-130 and on a truck, and ensure it's accessible with the right security measures, as well as being self-sufficient with power and its own comms. Robotics is changing. Robots are getting stronger and more durable. Payloads are becoming more varied, dynamic, and interchangeable. We need to be rethinking the model we are used to. We need to be improving the utilization of our high-end equipment across the country, especially within government. In New Zealand, a New Zealand agency would be lucky to spend about 1.5% to 2% of the entire year actually utilizing some of these high-end pieces of equipment. The goal is to improve overall government access to robotics and both internal capabilities, as well as removing the blockers for government agencies with lower budgets to produce trials. Inside one of the MARS emergency operations centers, it includes enough kit with both advanced robots and payloads to support a broad spread of different use cases, including civilian search and rescue, intelligence gathering, field assessment, and damage understanding. By combining robotics and payloads with artificial intelligence, we can significantly boost the capabilities that are continuing to expand. Now what happens is that we add the likes of Azure Stack Edge, allowing for the compute and services to execute these functions, enabled by new high bandwidth streaming capabilities. The benefits from traditionally hosted CPU and GPU clusters are now realized in the actual field, increasing cognitive services such as performing real-time object detection, computer vision, or using acoustics to detect caliber of rounds that have been fired, or hearing screams in the field, as well as more of the up-and-coming field, which is artificial smell. The future of the Mobile Command Center, or MARS, is changing from a pure defense function to a split and shared utilization model, benefiting other agencies by reducing agency bottlenecks and reliance. It allows for a shared cost approach, increases personnel capability, and improves the overall quality and quantity of these resources in the country. Now I'm going to pass it over to David to give a basic run through of one of these robots.
Nice. I'm going to grab the clicker. Oh, just talk about Boston Dynamics for now.
Yep.
Yeah, so these payloads here are basically 2 Boston Dynamics robots. They came all the way over from the US. We've had them for the last just over 6 months now. They're incredibly agile, some of the most agile robots available. They can manipulate over tree stumps. They can work in rough terrain, sand, gravel, outdoor environments, obviously, also in harsh weather environments. They can move around staircases, which is one of the unique components compared to most of the rover-based formats. Yeah, and we've been testing these in New Zealand in a wide variety of environments. Yeah. We're just going to change over to the other presentation. So ROCOS was established specifically because robotics is now becoming much more available in many different form factors, and we specifically are helping organizations integrate and managing the scaling of robotics. The first sets of robots often require handheld devices, effectively a radio control or a ground station to coordinate the activity of robotics. But at ROCOS, we have specialization in connectivity and cloud technology, and the focus for us is really on how do we manage and scale these robots over time. We talk about the fact that we're at the dawn of the golden age of robotics, the increase in the size of number of fleets, the proliferation of robotics in very, very wide form factors. The hardware capability is now mostly there for very widespread use. But at the moment, the race is really on around the actual software and connectivity. How do you coordinate the activity of 5 robots, 10 robots, 100 robots, 1,000 robots? That's both in the field plus from a centralized command position. Those are some examples of customers that we have. As you can see, it's a wide ranging from drones, trucks, agricultural settings, marine industry, including both boats and submarines. And this adoption is really starting to really scale now. And this fundamental challenge that these organizations have in the scaling is the ability to connect, monitor, and control, coordinate those activities. And the coordination is really this concept of mission planning and mission execution. So a mission is effectively giving a set of robots goals that could include waypoints, it could be capturing data and using things like cognitive services to decide based on that data what decisions need to be made. And all of that can be provided by our platform for not just the set of robots we'll talk about now, but also any autonomous vehicle or robot stack. There's a very wide range of industries using this, everything from energy to last mile delivery, the mining sector, and our technology is being used in all of these areas. These are some examples of partners that we work with. BRA5 is an Australian robotics company, very closely related to the CSIRO. This robot in particular was used on one of the DARPA challenges that we were involved with. Very capable device, very rugged device that's available to both in Australia and New Zealand. This is an example of the DARPA challenge there where we worked with a fleet of robots going into a subterranean environment in a cloud-denied environment. They had very specific limitations on networking, and our software technology was used to coordinate those robots in that environment and collect the sensor data to actually autonomously map that underground facility and also identify specific objects, a fire hydrant, a man-down situation, and those types of key objects that the robotics was actually looking for. This is Ghost Robotics in the US, another partner of ours. They have a wide range of autonomous robots, both legged format and others. Boston Dynamics has released their latest version of the robot, which includes the robotic arm, as well as an autonomous charge station, which means you can leave the robot in a remote location. It can self-charge and actually also has a manipulator to be able to carry out physical tasks in that environment. Companies like ClearPath have both small, very capable devices that we can use in areas like agriculture, but also very ruggedized large devices like the Warthog that's available. And our technology immediately integrates with that and gives you that ability to design the mission. Could be in a GPS frame to do very wide-scale maneuvers, or it could be in an indoor location environment where you're using an internal localization for those robots. This is Seafloor Systems, a partner in the US that works in the marine industry. The autonomous boats can be used for things like autonomous scanning of ocean floor. We integrate as well with some of the submarines used in that industry, as well as things like identifying dark vessels autonomously. So these vessels can actually go out for days at a time, and you can remotely connect to them and actually monitor what they're finding in that environment. Robotics is also used in areas like target practice, another partner of ours in the US that actually has moving targets for training facilities. This is just a short example of work we're doing in New Zealand in the substation investigation industry. It's a short example of actually designing a mission using a 3D environment, the ability to then load that mission onto an autonomous robot. In this case, it's Spot, but it could be any other robot that you've seen. And the robot then is effectively executing that mission. It's going around capturing data in that environment and then working with companies like Aware to actually identify if there's problems with the facilities and then throw alerts if that's the case. Thank you very much.
So to close out the idea of where robots are going in the future, I wanted to leave everyone with 3 of the probably more creative and relevant use cases around robotics as stemmed in the last couple of days. So yesterday, MIT released some pretty awesome research which is able to identify the difference between a healthy and unhealthy cough. The practical application for an army base, and this application is Spot, or a different form of a robot or a fixed device, being able to actually identify healthy and unhealthy people operating within the base, identify them early, and actually put the measures in to actually reduce the chance of spread. The second is around search and rescue, and specifically around the crazy fly swarm tech, which is out there. So instead of being able to take an hour to explore a building once it's been damaged, being able to send through 30, 40 small drone-based robots enabled with cognitive services, computer vision, and acoustic detection to go find individuals or people. And the last one actually stemmed from some of the interviews we had with Defense about 8 weeks ago. And it may not be the most exciting one, but it is one of the more functional ones. And that's essentially using robotics to collect, carry, and support and maintain pieces of equipment around base. So this could be engineer going, Spot, go get me part X4109, and Spot is able to have that capability to go grab the part from supply and bring it back. So that's just to end our idea about robots and the future of robots going forward. So if you'd like more information on Mars, go to www.maars.co.nz, awaregroup.com, or rocos, rocos.io. Thank you.
Thanks, Brandon.
Hi, guys.
Thanks a lot.
So, hi, guys. I was gutted that Spot the dog was going to be in Auckland and I'm in Wellington. Much as I love the cool studio here, it's great to see the guys on the stage. I ran out for a minute. Have they had a bit of a walk around with you while you were presenting?
Could probably do a hop. The walk around, that the surface is not that large here, but we can show you some specific maneuvers with Spot. We have some dog wranglers.
Why don't you just show us a few specific maneuvers? Because I think Spot's excited to hear me, so it's good.
Great.
I promise next time we have a stage, we'll make Spot climb some stairs. That's usually the most impressive aspect.
Well, it was important that we made sure people wanted more. So at our next event, hopefully you'll come back and we'll have some more real venues and we'll give you a much bigger stage.
Absolutely. And if any New Zealand partners do want a live demo, just ask. Just send us an email. We're around the country every week, and we can definitely bring Spot with us.
Awesome. Excellent. So if we've got any questions for you, we'll be looking out for them on the chats, on the chat side and through to the Q&A ID, which is me and my alter ego. So So I think what we'll do is we'll connect back in with you during these days. And if we've got some specific questions coming through, we'll grab you back to jump online and talk some more.
Wonderful. That sounds great.
So,
awesome. Thank you
for joining us. I'm delighted you were able to be here. And we love the real mixed up with the virtual.
Great.
See you guys.